What's up, everyone? This is my custom outfitted trailer slash mobile workshop. It's 18 by 7, but really it's a 16 plus 2 V-nose, which just means that 2 feet of it is pointed like that. We're going to show you all the features, and starting from the outside looking in, got these pool noodles just ripped down the middle so that while you're working quick during the day, you're not going to trip over the wire. We have our external outlet so that we can power the whole thing, and then for the most part, a lot of things are secured by these ratcheting ropes and these D-hooks. And then moving right on to a cool feature, we have these 3 blackout shades that roll down in the winter, and we use our DeWalt 20-volt propane heater to kind of warm up the trailer while those are down. And that kind of stabilizes all the tools and the batteries and the caulkings and the glues. Now, moving on to what kind of led to all this, the height of the table saw determined the height of the rest of the trailer. So the table saw outfeeds to the router table, outfeeds to the miter saw. I really wanted to make sure that I had plywood storage. So this area over here fits full sheets. It fits pretty much one of every basic size sheet you can store. So that would be 3/4, 5/8, all in a row. Just one of each. Up here, this did start out actually as a 78-inch level and an 8-foot level, but that's not as necessary now that I have the extendable levels. So that's where I've been storing these. It's not perfect because it's kind of hindering the board access, but that's okay. Up here I have a bunch of miscellaneous trims and things, as well as up here I have miscellaneous trims as well. Picking them all the time, extension jams, or if I'm just doing a front door, I'll do some plinth blocks and a Craftsman header. Nobody's ever said no to that. Make the thing look a little better than it did, a little less basic. And then over here, I have all my everyday carries pretty much. My tool belt box, my finish nailers, my skill saws, my everyday carry miter saws, all my pack outs, common fasteners, EDC, biscuit joiner, router, sander, etc. All my boxes are a story for another day, but moving right into the first section, we have all my stands as well as my sawhorses, and then a canopy as well. Behind door number 1 over here, we have my 4-foot ladders, and behind the 4-foot ladders is a big roll of 6 mil plastic for when you need to plastic something off, as well as some house wrap. And then behind door number 2, we have 6-foot ladders, and then behind the 6-foot ladders, this panel actually doesn't go all the way back, and that's so that I can store some wider things like a tamper back there, as well as have some cords. You can actually come right in here and take a peek. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but back there is some cords, and the cords can actually loop this way. And moving on to the next one, we have some more adjustable stands right here, like these Werner planks, except with the adjustable feet. I have my tripod Milwaukee. The next section is going to be most of my landscaping tools. So that's all my shovels, my hose, and rakes and post hole diggers. The next one's going to be all my levels, my 3, 4, 5 square, as well as my zip walls. And I got my flashing and tape necklaces here. So I got all my duct tape or foil tape, all my flashing tape, painter's tape. This probably costs more than a lot of gold necklaces, but gotta have it, and it's a real good way to store it. So jumping over to this side, we got another cool feature right here. This is a little, trash bag dispenser. This cubby here was sized for your average, trash bag box. All these fronts are just kind of miscellaneous. Up here, rather than do any real fixed hand tool storage, I decided to just go with a bunch of different clip-ons. That way, it's as modular as I want to be, and I can take these things right off, scoot along, not have to worry about really being married to any sort of setup there. In here is going to be the main charging station. We have a ton of batteries, ton of chargers. They're very, very rarely all on, so I don't have to worry about anything getting too hot or tripping or anything like that. But rather than get any formal clips and kind of, doing what you see a lot and storing them under like that into their clips, I just used a bunch of these orange, rigid containers because I had a ton of those laying around. Up here, I got a ton of rigid boxes. These aren't really my primary carries. They're more for task-specific things. So that's a story for another day. Like I said, we'll go through all those. But I'm not a fan, really, of drawers because when I grab a toolbox, or when I go to grab a tool, I know that that tool needs corresponding blades or batteries or fasteners, and I don't want to go to 3 different cubbies or 3 different sections. I want to grab a box and have it loaded onto the truck with everything that it needs to go with it so that it's ready to go. And then right here, obviously, we have a miter saw, and I have my air scrubber below it. Over the course of probably the 3.5 years we've had this, I've really only used this as a real mobile workshop, maybe a half dozen, 6 or 8 times, but every one of those times it's been awesome. You know, it doesn't really have the best dust collection, obviously, but I'm not sitting in here setting up camp making cabinets, so when I need to make a few cuts while I'm at my house or when I'm at the job site, it's been absolutely great. This saw is very, very accurate, so if I want to come out and pre-assemble some trim for a place, or if I'm just going to a place to do a quick deck, you know, maybe an entry porch or something like that, this thing's totally fine. Now the outfeed of the miter saw brings us on to another feature, which is this raised shelf here is actually above this on purpose, because that allows me to go a full 9 feet back into that void, which means that minus these trash barrels, I can technically cut an 18-foot piece of material clean in half. Have I ever had to do it? No, but it's a pretty cool feature. I wanted to have it, and it raised it up enough because everything's always based on the height of something else. So this height is based on 2 barrels. That was the bare minimum. Had to have it. Now, right on the left right here, this is going to be most of my nailers. Obviously, my everyday pack out nailers are my most used, but this is all the framers, pneumatic hanger gun, you know, coil nailers, cordless roofing, you know, cordless hanger gun, siding nailer, everything you could imagine, or everything you could need, rather. Getting down into here, we got some heavy duty stuff. We got the 9-inch grinder, the 6-inch grinder, the old Mag 77. We got the concrete polisher, you know, a 7-inch cupping wheel. This Milwaukee here is actually just a cleaning pack out bag that's just got, you know, Lysol wipes and paper towels and stuff. And then we got the 10 1/4 Milwaukee circular saw. So when you need to really do some heavy lifting with the circ saw, that thing comes out to play. It's pretty sweet. Then we got our, you know, sometimes you just need a dolly. So that's there. And then this is just a large Metabo tool, rigid, some DeWalt batteries, Metabo impacts, just stuff that's more commonly reached for than some of the specialty boxes up top. Once you get a little further in, you can look to the left here, and we have various hole saws, lasers, Forstner bits, ratchets, a bunch of blades up here, all my chalks, just some kind of miscellaneous stuff, you know. Down below here, we got a couple of mortar pans for mixing up mortar on site, and I have all my rigid supports that go in here. And then the back corner right here, this is just all my various fasteners. You know, when I need to reload anything, I come to this section here, and all my pack out common fastener boxes just get completely reloaded, replenished. Behind the toolbox, behind the trash barrels here, we've got another big vac, and then in the back there, I got my ladder jacks and my roof jacks. And, you know, I hide them there just, you know, because it really makes me think about if I actually want to do what I'm about to do when I got to dig them out. So that works out well. Got some extra space up here. Normally there's a yellow top HDX box sitting right here holding all my drop cloths, but those are on site right now in anticipation of a painter, so that's totally fine. Kind of got a catch all over here, but we'll work our way around to this side and I'll show you this side. Starting on this side, it's pretty much just my hardware store. So I got all the various things that you would need. You know, for example, we have our long lags, just some extra bits, a big thing of extra finish nails, nice finish chisels, various finish tools here, tap and die kit here, as well as sandpaper, stainless, you know, nuts, bolts, screws, whatever you need in stainless, they're right there. And then just common nuts, bolts, and washers, zip ties and drywall anchors, multi-tool blades and sandpaper, and then just some bits and blades in here, bits and blades in here, ratchets here, a light here. And then on this side, I have my spare tire, car jack, bottle jack, just in case, you know, worst case scenario. And then we have a fridge and a microwave, which also has an external plug. I've never used them, but they're super cool, so they're not going anywhere. I also have my little mud pan and a couple of different, hot muds in case I need to go do something like that. Got a ram set up here and just a roofing bag over there. So as you can see, this up here, the material storage looks a little haphazard, but I'm telling you, I cycle through it all the time. It's great to have. You're always going to be using your scrap, coves, your scrap colonials, your one bys, your filler strips, your extension jams. Just never goes to waste. I gotta be honest. It's been an absolutely amazing kind of haphazard setup up there, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So we'll scoot back over to the front. I'll show you one more feature, and we'll close it out. All right, now I said we were only going to go over one more feature, but I think we'll cover two, maybe three. Just kind of a hidden feature was we were doing a big remodel one time and we needed to get the floors done, so the place had to be emptied. We were getting numbers for storage containers between $500 and $700. Rather than do that, I came out here one morning, I emptied this thing in 30 minutes flat, and we got it to the job site the next day, and we were able to put the stove, the dishwasher, the microwave, all the electrical fixtures, all the window blinds, everything that needed to come out of the house came into this and was able to stay in here nice and dry and locked up for the 4 or 5 days that it took to refinish and dry. So the reason I say that is it just adds to the versatility of all the individual boxes and the ability to empty the thing. You're not going to be able to do that if you have all these fixed drawers and floor to ceiling cubbies and things like that. Probably a rare situation, but worth noting nonetheless. Now, if you look down here, we have a little 4.5 by 4.5 kind of reverse cabinet kick. And the reason for that is because when this thing's either naturally empty while things are on the job site, or if I want to empty it a couple times a year, I can just take the blower and blow the whole thing out, right through all the holes in all the panels, get all the dust out of here. Now, if you look on this side, we have the holes as well, but these serve a dual purpose where if for any reason a sheet that wasn't actually 8 feet scoots too far back, I can reach my hand in all the way down to here and just push it back. I've never had to do it, but if I had to do it, it's nice to be able to do. So the final feature is going to be just, I think I covered it briefly, but we have my clamps here. I need to store my clamps in the trailer anyway. So rather than just store them and then still have to strap everything off with, like the rope ratcheting straps or something, I just got my clamps kind of all over the place, holding everything in place. So they're not going anywhere in travel. Works out great and stores my clamps. So another dual purpose situation there. And under here, I mean, this is, I don't know, it's kind of just walking by, but this is my big demo bag. Every hammer and bar you could ever imagine. It's way too heavy, but you bring that to the job site and everybody's got a hammer and bar. Nobody's left hanging. It's just, that thing works awesome. And I hope this helps. I hope it gave you some ideas. I'm sure it did. If it didn't, then that's, that's pretty impressive if it didn't. But give it a like if you liked it. And if you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. You're tough to please.